My Monstera Thai was picture perfect healthy. I thought it was having a blast, time of its life. Also, I thought, because when I lifted the pot, I realized I was at least 3 months too late. So one of the things I get asked in my DMs and emails is they send me a picture of their plant with some roots popping out the bottom and they don't know if they should repot or not. And the truth is, it depends. I'm sorry to say that to you, but when the roots are coming out the bottom of like this one, sometimes a few roots means wait, but sometimes it also means you might be behind. So there can be several different signs that tell you that your plant needs a repot. So today I'm going to take you through 3 clear signs that will help you end the guessing. And sign number 3, honestly, I completely missed this one on my bird of paradise outside for months, and I ended up having to almost chainsaw the pot off. It was that bad. You'll see a little bit later on. Okay, so let's start with the common sign that people already know, which we just talked about, which is roots coming out the pot. But as I said, that depends, because it depends how much roots are coming out the pot, and it also depends on how much soil there is in the pot as well. So for me, this is how I look at it. So if there's one root coming out the base, usually that's okay. I mean, you can repot it if you really want to go through all of that trouble, but when you repot, when there's only perhaps one root coming out the base, you're just going to stress the plant, because plants like consistency. They don't really like to be touched once they've found their really nice spot to grow. And so I would let that grow. It's also got secondary roots coming out. And honestly, the reason why it's coming out of the base is because I have it in a pot where the base of the pot is actually got room to grow, so it is growing. If it was against a flat base, it wouldn't have roots coming out. And this has got a lot of holes in the base as well, and there's no other roots coming out. So I can easily leave this another maybe 3-6 months. We're coming to the end of summer here in Australia, so I can probably wait until the next growing season, if I'm honest. Now, the other thing that's going to tell you, and I'll talk more of this later, is just have a little bit of a squeeze, because you might have a root coming out here, but it might still have a lot of growing room in the pot. And that's what you really are looking for. You want to check both at the same time, because it may have just found its way out of the pot instead of trying to go and wrap around the pot, which a lot of roots do if you've seen in other social media posts. So for me, one root like this, yes, it's perhaps an inch or 2 long, but one root like that, I'm going to leave it. It does not need a repot. And you know it's healthy because it's a nice white root. And it's actually just telling you a sign that it's pretty happy, actually. So I would leave that one alone. Right, let me show you a couple of other examples as well. So we've got a little bit more here. So this is the one you probably saw on the thumbnail. This one, if you notice the pot actually, it's quite a short pot. So it is looks like 120 millimeters. It's just as wide as it is short. But you can see here, I've actually got quite a few coming out the base. There's now roots coming out of 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4 holes out of the 12 that are there, or whatever it is, right? 4 out of 12. That's quite a lot. And you can see now they're getting to maybe 4 or 5 inches. What's that? 20, 25 centimeters. I'm terrible at like conversion there, as you can see. But there's a decent amount of roots. So I would probably repot. And if there's still, this is super squeezy, so it's telling you that there's still a lot of room in this pot. The roots aren't wrapping around. There's not too many solid roots in there. So I could easily take them out and just repot them back into this pot if I really wanted to. But for me, I would probably repot it back into a pot almost the same size and just find one that, see if I can find one that's just a little bit deeper to give it that extra bit of room. So that's about right if you are keeping up with your repotting, which honestly, I never do. I'm always a little bit late in the season and I wait until too many roots. And that's not the best thing to do, but also, hey, it's life. Okay, my other example here, I'm gonna put him here. Now, I don't know if you've been with me for a while, I don't know if you've recognized this guy, but this one here, this is my alocasia, but look how much it's grown. This plant was part of my spring repotting series. So it's been 4 months since I repotted it. It was literally a third of the size with maybe one, I think one stem was coming out and maybe 1 or 2 at the base. So this girl has exploded with growth because I've been testing a few things in the background, I must admit. It has grown significantly in 4 months. I'm super proud of this baby. But let's have a look at the roots. That's why we're here. Now this is in a clear pot, which makes things a little bit easier. So you can see the roots. So that's about the same. Roots are coming out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 actually at the base. So it's coming out of quite a lot of the base, which is a signal in itself. It's not just one side growing extra and trying to find its way. It's all across the base of the pot. And because this pot is clear, I can see here that there's roots, quite a lot of roots all around the edges. That's also because there's quite a lot of plants in this pot. But there's roots at the base, there's roots starting to circle the pot. And if I press the pot, it's actually pretty dense. And again, we'll talk about that more in a second. But that's a good signal. So again, I would probably maybe leave it a little bit more, maybe a month or two, but not long, because that is almost ready for a repot into another size. And gosh, I want this thing to continue to grow. I mean, look at it, look at it. It's just crazy. And it's beautiful variegation. Look at it all. So very happy and proud of this girl. She's doing very, very well. Now, I do want to show you what too many roots looks like, where it's too late and you really do need to repot like urgently. And I'll give you two examples. The first one is going to be my Monstera Thai constellation. This girl was growing beautifully, very healthy. And I thought to myself, I haven't repotted it in a while, let's check it. And oh my gosh, this thing was absolutely ridiculous. I had left this way too long. But anyway, there is a whole video with that one. I did 5 really big plant repots in one go. It was absolutely exhausting, but I'll make sure I leave a link to you just here above my head. Okay, and then the final one, I do have a plant just here as well. This is a state you don't want to get to. Okay, that is too far. Now, yes, this is leca. It's a little bit different. So you don't technically get roots coming out the side of the pot, which leca does. But look at the base. They have been swirling way too long. In fact, if you have a look in the center of all of the roots in the base there, some are dark brown, which means they're dying off. So don't do what I do. It does happen, obviously, but don't do what I do. That is way too late. And whether you're growing in leca or soil, if you've got roots like that coming out the pot, that is like 3 months too late. Do it before that. If you can, it's healthier for the plant. And frankly, it's easier to get out of the plastic pot. So I'm going to have to cut that plastic pot up to get that plant out, or chop off all the roots, or a bit of both, because they'll fall out when I'm pulling it. Anyway, it's not a good thing. Okay, so let's talk about sign number 2. And this is a bit of a sneaky one, I must admit, because when you look at a plant, everything looks pretty good. If you've been with my channel for a while, yes, you might have noticed this peace lily again, because I do have a video about different problems that a peace lily has, how to fix the problems. Now, usually what you should be able to do is water the plant and the leaves pick back up again. It's a nice, simple, easy thing. The earlier version of this plant, what would happen is I would water it and it would, you know, it was floppy and it would perk back up a little bit, but it wouldn't be like this high and tall and proud. It would just come up a little bit, and then again in half a day or a day, it would droop again. It wasn't happy. So even when I was watering it, it wasn't coming back to its normal bright self, which it should. Peace lilies, when you water them, should come back up. What was happening is there were too many roots in the soil, way too many roots. Now, those roots in that case weren't technically running around the edges. They weren't coming out the base at all. It didn't look like much was happening. And even if I was like testing the pot and feeling around, it didn't look like there were any roots. I couldn't see them. But when I tried to put a moisture meter into the middle of the potting mix, not the edges, into the middle, it was really hard. It was really thick and really, really chunky. So the sign that I'm talking about is your plant is wilting, your plant is droopy, you water it and it doesn't pick up again. So that is normally a sign that something is wrong with your plant. Now the roots are either going to be one of two things in that instance. They're going to be sad and mushy and brown, which means you've got root rot, which is not a good thing, but that's another video for another time. The second thing is they are happy, but they're too compact for that water to get into the middle of your plant, of your soil, into the middle of all the roots. And that's exactly what happened with this peace lily before I repotted it. Those roots were fine, but there was so many. It was like 90% of the pot almost. And water just was not getting to the middle of those roots, which was terrible for the plant. So water would instead run through the edges, like down inside the pot, and it would run off, but it wouldn't get to the middle. So the sign is basically, if it's drooping, you water it and it's not perking up again, it could be a sign to repot, or it could be a sign of root rot, which is basically almost a sign to repot. Now, you might be thinking, doesn't that mean that it's hydrophobic soil when it dries out? Isn't that the same thing? And that's a totally fair question, I promise you. The difference is hydrophobic soil won't absorb water at all. You'll literally see it pool on top, you'll see it fall out the sides. You can tell the difference between a hydrophobic soil because the soil is compact and thick and you can't move it. Whereas if it's too root bound on the inside, it's just not holding enough water in those roots because it's all roots, there's no soil, and it can't keep that water in. The water does still go through the soil a little bit, it just rushes through too fast because there's barely any soil left to hold it. It can be very confusing. The symptoms can look very, very similar, but the soil is what's making the difference. One has absolutely no soil left and one has a lot of soil. It's just hard, too hard like a rock, and you can't get through. So yeah, when it came to my peace lily, it had sign number 2 where it was wilting and there were too many roots in the middle, but it actually had one more sign. It actually had the third sign we're about to talk about. So it wasn't just one signal happening to my poor little peace lily, it was several. And that's actually the key here. When plants are in real trouble, it shows multiple signals working together almost to tell you that it needs help. And that's why I've created this freebie for you to download. It's called the 5-Point Plant Health Check. The link is in the description below, and it'll just help walk you through exactly how to spot when your plant's trying to tell you that it's in trouble or not. It's free for you to download. I'll leave it in the description below for you. Okay, what's the third sign? Well, sign number 3 is actually one that I wish I knew sooner. So let's just move the plants out the way. It's a little bit of plant Tetris, isn't it? Okay, so now I mentioned this very briefly before. So this is a healthy pot. When I squeeze this pot, it is soft and easy and all the soil is coming apart a little bit. It's very light and airy, it's moving around. That is a sign to me that even though there's roots coming out of the bottom, it's still quite spacious in the middle. If I can move things around, there's room for more roots to grow in that pot. However, if you've got a pot that you pick up and is really hard to press the sides in, that is a sign that it needs a repot. Honestly, when you press the sides of a pot and it feels like a brick, like you can literally hit it and it does not move, it's completely solid, then that is root bound to a point of quite a problem, to be honest. If it's rock solid, it's a big problem. Now, why does this matter? What does that mean? Well, basically what's happened is the roots have filled out every space in that pot to the point almost of no return. And the roots are pushing up against the pot walls and there's no more space. They've probably done rounds and rounds and rounds, or you might find that the roots have become really thick, depending on the type of plant, really thick and solid, or some rhizomes have taken over and all sorts. So if your pot is rock solid, then you're in a lot of trouble because it's going to be hard to repot. Now, on a positive, it's a great sign to check if you're not sure whether you want to disturb the roots or not. So like this one, I don't need to take the plant out of the pot because it's still nice and easy. So I know she's healthy for a little bit, but you can lift up a plant and if it's really solid, whether it's got roots underneath or not, then you know it's time to repot. You don't have to take it out of the pot to know that that plant needs a repot. Those thick, rock solid sides of the pot, that's a danger zone, which again is why I quite like using plastic pots in a cachet pot, because plastic pots do tell you a lot, but everybody has their preferences, right? I get that. This is what I mentioned right at the beginning. This is the sign I completely missed on my bird of paradise. And you know a bird of paradise plant, if they're pretty big, you can't just lift it up and check all the roots like every couple of months, can you? They're huge things. But what I could have done is just popped my hands in and tried to press the sides of the pot a little bit or the top of the pot a little bit and see if it was flexible or not. I never did that. I just left it in the corner out the back. And by the time I realized what was happening, the roots were ridiculously packed. Like I have not seen a plant so root bound and overgrown to the point of they looked like dreadlocks coming out of the base of the pot. Let's have a look at some footage of me trying to squeeze the pot. as Maggie's, out the way, come on, out the way. So this is what we have to get rid of. I am literally going to have to cut that off. I need to cut the pot off. That is solid. Like I don't know why people do that now. So look at the size. They have thick, chunky roots. Look at the size of that thing. I mean, I'm using all my might to get in here. This is so packed. This is nuts. Oh, I'm cutting down a root. Look at it. Roots. And that is just solid. Yeah. So some of you may have seen that before because it was a part of a big repot video. Pot felt like concrete, honestly. Way too late. Don't be me. Learn from my, actually it's not even a mistake, learn from my disaster. That is way too late. Okay, so what does a good amount of roots coming out of the pot look like? Well, I'm going to take you outside. It's definitely ready for me right now to repot today, pretty much. Okay, so this is my philodendron Jose Bueno. So this is the one that I need to repot today. So first of all, let's have a look at the roots. So the roots themselves are, one of them is really, really, really long, but philodendron roots are usually quite thick. They're fairly thick, as you can see here. And one of them is, 30 centimeters long. So that's a sign in itself. I can also see roots coming out of at least 3, if not 4 of the holes here. Some are not very long yet. What else I can see on the roots is I can see the initial main root coming out. I can also see secondary smaller roots coming out from that main root. And I can even see the third layer of roots coming out of the second layer, which is on the first layer. So the fact that I can see roots coming out at least half the holes on this pot, and the fact that I can see initial, secondary and tertiary roots, that's where sign number 3 comes into this pot. And if I squeeze the top of the pot, it's still got a little bit of room, it's still squishy. But if I squeeze the bottom of the pot, it is rock solid. So what that's telling me is that roots are getting all around the base of the pot. So at least half of this pot, from what I can feel, is pretty stacked with roots. The other thing here, and it's literally just aesthetic, is this girl has grown so big. Let me put it down on the floor so you can see the top of it. This girl has grown so big, so if I let go, it falls over. Even if I have it in the base pot and I had it on a plant stand as well, none of that weight was still holding this up. So that's just another reason why I need to repot into a bigger base. So I literally have to repot it so it's a little bit of an angle, so the moss pole gives it a little bit more weight in the center of the pot. Okay, so we've now talked the 3 signs. You've seen examples of a little bit too soon, a little bit too late, or a lot late, and ready to pot right now. But I want to briefly touch on pot sizes, because what I hear a lot online and in social media is go up 2 sizes or 2 inches. Now that kind of makes sense for the pots that are like this, smaller pots. If you go up 2 sizes, what you're aiming for when you repot is look for the roots to take up about half of the new pot. So for this one, let's say it's ready, I would probably go up another 2 sizes, give it a bit more room. But when it comes to the 𝐆𝐫𝐚𝐻, it is in a 180 centimetre pot. I'm only going to go up to a 200 millimetre pot. The bottom of the pot was really full and thick of roots, but the top of the pot was still squeezable. So in my mind, it's still got a little bit room to grow. Now I have to double check that once I repot it, the whole thing itself, but ultimately I'm not going up 2 pot sizes. I just want to make sure that the root ball is taking up about half the pot, the new pot, maybe a third if you want to go a little bit bigger and give it a little bit more room if you like. Plus, going up 2 pot sizes doesn't really make sense when you're talking really big pots. So for example, this is a 300 millimetre size pot. Now in Australia, the next one up is a 410 size pot. So me going up to the next one over this, from here to, I think it's 500 or half a metre, is just ridiculous. Why would you do that, right? So for me, about half-half seems to work really well. That's my advice. So tell me, which of these 3 signs did one surprise you? Did you know all 3? Do you usually ignore one like I do, which is the 3rd one, which you probably should use a lot more often? Let me know in the comments. Even if you don't know what to say, put an emoji, put a smile, put a leaf emoji. Just let me know you're there to the end of the video, basically, and let me know that you enjoyed this video. And don't forget, if you do want that 5-point free health check document, it's free for you. The link will be in the description below. So of course, now that you know the signs, you've repotted, well, what do you need to know next? There's one really big important thing, and that is watering your plant, how you water it, when to water it, etc. So I'm going to share with you 5 watering secrets that is literally going to help you double your growth with your plant. Some of these tips are so easy, you don't realize how much of an effect they have, and I'm going to break them down all in the next video for you. So that is actually it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, have a great week full of leaves, love and laughter. I love you. Thank you for watching all the way through, and I will see you in the next video. See you in the next one. Bye.